Good afternoon. I'll call this meeting to order at 12:59 p.m. This meeting will be held in a hybrid manner where committee members, staff, and the public can participate in person or electronically. This meeting is being live streamed and recorded and will be available on the township website. Notice is hereby provided that under the authority of the Municipal Act 2001 and in accordance with Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, MFIPA, that all information attained is considered part of the public record. We have the agenda in front of us. Are there changes that we want to make to the agenda? Mr. Hurst?
Madam Chair, I recommend an amendment to the agenda to move item 10.11 from the programmed and event applications to the capital applications and to renumber it as 9.8.
Thank you. Can I have a second to that? Ms. Pierce seconds. And any comments? No comments. I'll call the question. All in favor, please raise a hand. And that's passed. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof? Seeing none, we'll move on. Item 4.1, adoption of the minutes. These are the minutes from the February 26th meeting. Are there any additions or amendments to the minutes? No? And so I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes. Ms. Shea and seconded by Mr. Becking. And all in favor, please raise a hand. Thank you. Item 4.2, adoption of the minutes of the special meeting of the Community Grant Committee. So this was a special meeting that was held on April 8th. Were there any comments or additions to those minutes? No? And I'll look for a motion to approve the minutes then. Ms. Pierce, seconded by Ms. Nye. And all in favor, please raise a hand. And that's passed. And I will note that Councillor Buderick has joined us online. Presentations. There are no presentations scheduled, so we will move to item number 6, open forum. During open forum, any person may address the committee on any matter that is listed on the agenda. Anyone wishing to speak at a committee meeting can register in advance with the Clerk's division or can use the raise hand in Zoom when called upon by the chair. Each person will have 3 minutes to address the committee. So the Clerk has advised that Marcia Eldridge from the Loyalist Business Association would like to speak, and then I'll look for anyone else in the audience. Please come ahead, Marcia, and you just push the button on the microphone to speak.
Hi. First of all, I'd like to thank you, the committee, for previously granting us a grant in the past. I just wanted to comment on the application that I submitted for us. Near the end, there was a place to upload a single only quote. I had difficulty with that, and I also I found later on I could just upload a whole bunch of stuff, so I uploaded all of our quotes. The reason I did that is because depending on how much we receive, we may go with 2 separate companies, one doing video, one doing the actual campaign, or we'll choose a company that will do both of them at the same time. So that's why I wanted you to, I couldn't really say it in there. So I found this was the first time I've used the online form, and I didn't really like it that much. But anyways, I wanted to let you know, just so you understand why I sent you everything. Okay. Yes. It's for the members, for promoting them in hopes of more people, more residents and non-residents see them. So that's the whole purpose, is to get a widespread ad campaign for each of our members. Thank you.
And please come forward and you can introduce yourself and go ahead and present.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm Catherine Reynolds with Helen Henderson Care Center, and this is Sean Stevenson. He's our nutrition manager. And we are, you can sit if you want to. I find it easier to stand. You can still hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, so thank you for considering our application today. We are asking for about 7,300, sorry, for 2 plate warmers for our home. Our home does serve one of the most vulnerable populations in your community, and we've been doing it for more than 40 years. Helen Henderson Care Center is proud to be part of this community. One of the critical aspects of our business, it really is mission critical, is our Gibson Family Healthcare Charitable Foundation. And so I'd like to just kind of emphasize how important it is for us to have this aspect of our business, because funding is very limited with the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care. The foundation allows us, and this is part of Helen Henderson Care Center, it is charitable recognized. It allows us to get other pieces of equipment, do things that we wouldn't have the funding to do. And so I know that you've got the information in front of you about the plate warmer, which will directly improve the quality of life for more than 300 residents. And that's kind of immediate. We'll be using these for quite a while, probably. What are you thinking, 10, 15 years, Sean?
Yeah.
At least. So it's two pieces of equipment that will really serve the community for a long time. It'll come through our charitable foundation, and again, directly improve the quality of life for residents. Sean can speak to how that will happen. And I know that there's kind of, the meal is a very important part of the day. It's a social time. It adds structure to the day. But it's going to also improve their dietary needs, correct?
Yeah, as Catherine mentioned, mealtime for them it's very important. It's a very large part of their day. And the plate warmers allow that to be delivered in the higher quality of the food temperature, and it also makes it safer for the residents. It's something that we've struggled with in the past, just due to the large volume of people that we're serving. Many large quality facilities have something like this, and just something we haven't been able to procure lately. Okay,
Thank you.
makes sense.
It makes total sense. Are we at our 3 minutes? No, am I being timed? Possibly. I know the questions probably are better kind of asked maybe when we get to the grant itself, but I'm happy to speak to any now, or Sean can too.
Did anyone have questions for this? Ms. Pierce, go ahead.
Sorry.
It's green now, thank you. What other sorts of projects or what other sorts of help it is given to Helen Henderson through the foundation? Like how does this application compare to other purposes that the community or the foundation has fulfilled?
That's a great question. So I've been with the organization for almost 12 years. And since I've been there, we've raised money to secure a new wheelchair accessible bus. We've got that in place. And that they're all, I don't know if you see them kind of going out in the community, but they're enjoying all the beautiful waterfront, Fairfield Park, and everything you have to offer. And so that's just one project. Every Christmas, we raise money for the residents, so everyone in the home gets a gift on Christmas Day to open. We also help it's called Days of Christmas campaign for the staff, and so we do draws around Christmas time and gifts and special food. So we're always trying to kind of build the morale of our residents and staff, right? It's preserve dignity, promote independence. That's some of our key kind of components, but yeah, just doing that sort of business. Sorry, there's a lot of other things we do with the charitable foundation, but those are kind of some of the fun things that we like. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Turn it on.
So
Nope.
just for me, a little bit of clarity. So Gibson is charitable foundation, correct? And Helen Henderson is for profit?
Helen Henderson Care Center is owned and operated by the Gibson family for more than 40 years. They are for profit. They're a private organization.
Okay.
The charitable foundation supports the home specifically. So the answer to your question is yes. But the charitable foundation is, again, benefits all the residents, and it's a critical part of our business.
Does the charitable foundation support things outside of Helen Henderson and other organizations that you do not operate?
No, we do not. It's
Okay.
all specific to the residents in our home.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks,
Okay, is there anyone else that would like to present during open forum? Not seeing any hands in the room, and clerk's office, there's no one online?
No, I'm not seeing any hands raised online, but Councilor Boudrick's hand is raised up.
Okay. I think he's frozen. Okay, so calling if anyone online wants to present at open forum, you can use the raised hand function. And I'm not seeing anything, so we will carry on. Next is delegations, and there are no delegations scheduled today, so we will have a financial update from our finance department.
Perfect. Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to introduce myself, because I believe I've not met most people in this room, I'm Jesse Collins. I'm the new Deputy Treasurer. I started with the township back in March. I'm very happy to be here today and deliver the fun news of the finances. So without further delay, I'll get right into the table. There's kind of three main updates to this table since the last time you met. The first is we've included a row for intake 1 that has been used, so we've updated those balances. The second is, as you know, there is no intake 3 this year, so normally it's split 30% with intake 2 and 30% with intake 3. The full 60 is being allocated for this meeting as available for funding. The third piece is the entire township, the last 3 columns. So at the last meeting, the programs amount was fully utilized. So at the March 10th council meeting, it was authorized by council to borrow from the capital funding to be used for any intake 2 or 3 requests, which would all occur today. The amounts in yellow at the bottom represent the total amounts that are available for funding for each of the 3 main areas. And that's kind of the summary. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Nope, no questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And does the clerk's division have an update?
So through the chair, we have 2 small updates. There was one application that was submitted after the intake 1 deadline for an event that was scheduled to take place in early June. So that application was withdrawn and not included on the agenda for today. And then in terms of all the progress update on all other projects, they're all scheduled to complete in late fall this year. So we don't have any evaluation submitted.
Yep. Thank you very much for that. Okay, and so we will now move to the capital grant applications. So the first one is Bath United Church is requesting $12,571 for maintenance upgrade to the cemetery grounds. So I will ask if there are any comments, questions on that before I look for a motion. Mr. Becking.
The questions for staff. Am I to understand that the township and the church are in negotiations for the township to assume the cemetery?
So through the chair, the township and the church are in negotiations to support with the operations of the cemetery.
Okay, I'm not sure that answers my question. Are you assuming or taking over the cemetery? Is that the proposal that's currently being discussed?
We're looking at the operational management of the cemetery, not owning the cemetery.
I can explain that.
Please do, because I'm confused.
Because of how the cemetery is laid out around the church, it can't be severed and sold separately. So the township and the church are talking about the township assuming operations and responsibility for the cemetery, but that we would not own the land. The church will still own the property because otherwise the township would also have to buy the church.
So if I may then, Madam Chair, is the township taking over the perpetual care responsibilities and obligations under the Act?
Yes.
Okay. If I could make a comment then, Madam Chair, I'm not sure that the fees for legal and the like is an appropriate use of the grant. That's my personal opinion and based on what I know about the Act. The rest of it makes good sense to me, and as far as I'm concerned, I would be supportive of a resolution where we pull out the legal fees and documentation part, and that then becomes something between the two parties to be negotiated and so on and so forth. But as far as the balance of it, I have no objections.
Do we have any other comments on this application? Ms. Pierce?
Just further to Mr. Becking's question, so all of the assets associated with the cemetery would then go to the township?
Correct.
Okay, good, except for the land ownership. Thank you.
I am in agreement with the legal fees, and I'm just wondering if anyone's able to speak to the quite vast difference between the tree trimming costs in quote 1 and quote 2. That's a big difference for a small amount, but it's still a big gap.
Through the chair, 2 notes for the committee. First, council has not yet authorized the assumption of operations, so that's still in progress. And then in terms of the quotation, so as far as I understand, the cemetery operations group struggled with getting quotes for all of the items that were listed in the application. So they, as far as I know, they were given the same information, but it was just different quotes that they were provided with.
Any other questions? So I will look for a motion. Mr. Becking?
Madam Chair, I'll put forward a motion that recommends to council that they approve an amended amount of $7,571 for the chain link and gate repairs and tree trimming portions of the application.
Okay, do I have a seconder for that? Ms. Shea? And comments from the mover? Nope. Comments
None.
from the seconder? Anyone else on the committee? No, I will call the question. All in favor, please raise your hand. And that's passed.
Madam
Next-
Chair, can I interrupt for 1 second?
Yes, please go ahead.
Due to the fact that I was late getting accepted in, I heard you talk about declarations. I do have 2. I will have to fill out the paperwork for them. One being 9.3 for the Gibson Family Healthcare, and 10.1. And if you'd like explanations on both, I can give those.
I don't think we need explanations, but thank you. The clerk will have that in her paperwork. Thank you. So next we are moving to 9.2, which is Cataraqui Conservation requesting $77,000 for a pavilion and Privy at Parrots Bay Conservation Area. Do we have any questions or comments on this one? Mr. Hurst?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to speak in support of this request. I'm one of the local residents who is in Parrots Bay Conservation Area on a daily basis. In fact, twice a day, given that my dog requires it twice a day. And having been a member of the Conservation Authority, Full Authority Board for a number of years, including laterally chair of their budget committee, I can attest to the fact that this kind of improvement to the conservation area would simply not be possible given the tight budgets that conservation areas operate under. Parrots Bay does not have a lot in terms of improvements, and that is really by design in some degree, because when we did a survey years ago, the majority of the respondents favored leaving it in as natural a state as possible. But having said that, at the Bath Road entrance at the lot, parking lot, quite often you'll see people trying to have picnics and so on in the open area. And there just simply isn't any toilet facilities or anything of that nature. And so I think this is a very worthwhile addition that will be well used by everyone who is familiar with Parrots Bay Conservation Area. Thank you.
Any other comments on this one? Mr. Becking?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to express the opposite view of my esteemed colleague. If the project is that important, then it should have been budgeted for. We've had applications from this organization and other municipally supported organizations during my tenure on this committee. Frankly, if it's that important, it should have been in the budget and should have gone through the normal approval, budgetary approval process, in my view. I think that as worthwhile as this project may be, and I know that there are other members similar to Bert who live in my neighborhood and use that property. It's something that should follow the municipal budgetary process and seek normal approvals. So I would be inclined to be against approval of this particular application.
Okay. Comments from anyone else on the committee? Ms. Shea?
Through the chair, once again, I am a little bit mystified by the fact that the quotes vary so dramatically and why the preferred quote is so much more than the other quotes, particularly the Pavilion. I don't know, maybe that's a question overall for how these quotes are chosen, but it seems to me if money can be saved, it should be. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Thank you. Ms. Pierce?
I was just going to say that I agree with Mr. Hurst rather than my companion next door here. I think that this is an excellent project, and I kind of see it as something that is kind of beyond the norm. And for that reason, I could see why it was not included through the normal budget process. But I think it's a very, very worthwhile project.
Okay. Any other comments? Ms. Nye?
I'm also in support of this, but also had the same question about budget, that I think that, quote number 3 is less than half, or more than half, sorry, than quote number 1. So I'm questioning what the difference is and why they are going with the highest quote as well.
Okay. Looking for a motion. Mr. Hurst?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll make the motion that the committee recommends to council that it approve the application of CRCA.
Okay. And I'm looking for a seconder on that. Ms. Shea? Okay. Mover, any further comment? Okay. Seconder, any comment? Anyone else? No? I'll call the question. All in favor, raise a hand. And all against, raise a hand. Thank you. Moving on to 9.3. So with this one, Councillor Bruderick has turned off his camera because he has declared a pecuniary interest in this one. So it's the Gibson Family Healthcare Charitable Foundation requesting $7,382.52 for mobile heated dish dispensers. Any comments before I look for a motion? Ms. Shea.
Perhaps I should have raised this earlier, but I feel that this is an awkward one because it's a private corporation. It's an arm, the charitable foundation is an arm of a private corporation. And I just don't know that this is the correct use of our grant monies. I question that.
Ms. Nye.
Exactly why I asked the question for clarity, because I also find this a little bit strange. If the foundation did support other companies or organizations, I might feel differently about it, but it feels like it's just funneling money from a charitable to a for-profit, so felt a little uncomfortable for me.
Ms. Pierce.
I have had the same concerns and thoughts, and that's why I asked about other items that the foundation had supported. And the examples you gave, I see as more appropriate because they're less basic to the purpose of the organization, where it seems to me that serving hot meals should be absolutely basic and it should be an operating cost.
I will look for a motion. Ms. Pierce.
I would move that the Gibson Family Healthcare Charitable Foundation request be denied.
Okay. And do I have a seconder on that? Ms. Shea? And any comments from the mover, seconder? Anyone else on the committee? Okay, so if you support that, please raise a hand. And that's passed. Thank you. Next is the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 623 Capital Stream, and yes.
A member of the union, should I leave?
For the Legion?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, so Clerk Mr. Rogers is declaring pecuniary interest on this item. So the application is for $96,488.44 to repair the roof and provide new signage in front of the Legion. Are there any comments or questions about this application? Ms. Shea.
Thank you, Chair. I maybe miscalculated, but I thought that the preferred quote added up to more like 67,000. Am I mistaken there?
Sorry, I'm just looking now.
That's what the documents show.
I just don't know where
And the
the
clerk
96,488 is.
Help us
coming
out with
from.
that.
Yeah, so I think the total preferred, the 96,488 was listed in their application, but we can verify the total amount if you give us a second.
Thank you.
So is that because the signage is $15,537.50 and the preferred roof quote is the $80,950? I believe so.
Through the chair, we don't have any further information, so that would be my presumption as well. I believe there's someone in the room that may be able to speak to that.
Is there anyone from the Legion that has knowledge of the quotes and why the roofing quote was chosen for the $80,000? Mr. Marshall?
My name is John Marshall, representative of 623 Millhaven Legion on County Road number 4. The reason that for the roof itself, the first quote for 55,000. The only thing is the guy had to put a roof on like this in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And also, instead of using the proper stone, he was going to use patio stones.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So therefore, we checked our investigation and found out that for the next price up 80,000, this guy's been in business for many years, guarantees, warranty on it, workmanship on it. So we would rather have a better roof put on the proper the first time and only time, and instead of having approved for patio stone on top of our flat roof.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So it's a quality concern. I'm looking for a motion on this. Mr. Hurst?
Chair, I'll make the motion. We recommend to council that the Legion's community grant application in the sum of 96,400 for the sign and the roof be approved.
Okay, and do we have a seconder for that? Ms. Shea, any further comments on it? No? So I will call the question. Everyone in favor, please raise a hand. And that passes. And Mr. Marshall?
Half the Legion, I'd like to thank you to the committee, the roof committee, for looking at our application. And I will be laid down this road. As you know, we got very functions going on. And started to pick up a lot more, and we had the big celebration for 100 years on July 17th. Everybody's invited. Already signed up over 50 new members this year, because it is our centennial year. So I just want to say thank you for the application. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Marshall, and congratulations on a 100-year anniversary at the Legion. And Mr. Rogers can come back in. Can't hear it.
Through the chair, can I just make one comment? The ramp isn't referenced in this motion. We just need to ensure that the ramp is included in the wording of the motion.
For the Legion?
Yes.
Okay, so I would look, Clerk, what do you need for that?
You would have to pass a motion to amend.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for an emotion to amend item 9.4 to the that the committee recommends that the council approve the Royal Canadian Legion number 623 requesting $96,488.44 for the installation of new signage, ramp, and roof repairs. Sorry, I didn't see the ramp. So you'll make that motion?
Sure.
And seconded by Ms. Nye, and all in favor. Thank you. Next is the Kingston Dream Home. So it's the Kinsman's Dream Home. They are, for the first time, building it in Loyalist Township with Brooklyn Homes, and they are looking for funding to offset the development charges associated with building the home. Do we have comments? Mr. Hurst?
I'm somewhat confused by this particular application, particularly because they're asking the full amount as in kind. And then it appears as though they're only going to hold it in kind for a particular period of time until they do their lottery and get their funds in order and so on. So it is a very confusing application. And I'm not sure that the amount that they're asking for is first of all, in kind. I don't believe it would be. It's a straightforward stand-up cost that they're looking to get funds for.
Mhm.
And then their commitment to return the full amount to the township in some form or another, while that's very plausible, I suppose, and very commendable, it just, I'm not sure if that's actually, you know, a goal or what it is, an aspiration perhaps.
Is there anyone in the audience that's from this organization? No. Does the clerk have any clarity on that intention to repay?
Yeah, so I can, through the chair, I can share my understanding of the project. So Kingsman, the group essentially built homes in the area, and then what they're looking for is to offset the permit costs associated with the building of the home in the township. And I believe so. So they have their costs, and then they run a fundraiser, and then obviously the home is given away in the lottery. I blanked out on the question.
So are they intending, so
Oh, the charitable
to give the money back to the township once the draw has been done for the home?
So my understanding is that they're going to take that same amount, that like a value equivalent to what they would get in the community grant, and give that to charitable organizations in the township, and work with staff to determine those organizations.
Right, so they're not,
It's not coming back.
they're asking for the donation to offset the development charges, the township's development charges. And what they're committing is that that amount will be donated to charities within Loyalist Township, because most of the charities that are supported by the Kinsman Dream Home are Kingston-based charities. Correct?
Yes, that is my understanding.
Mr. Hurst?
Just one other item, they're also, in addition to the development costs, they're also asking for, I think it was 10,000 or so, having to do with a plumber and his costs. So if we treat this as a request for funding, that possibly might cover that cost. But if it's to do with the development charges, then I would suggest that we amend the amount and delete that that plumber's cost.
Is that intended to be plumbing fees, or is that the water impost charge? Because I see sewer, but I don't see water.
So the note that we have from the Development Services Division is that the 10,318 plumbing fee does not appear to be township charge and may represent contractor costs. Yeah.
Any other comments on this one, Ms. Pierce?
This is a very interesting application. The way I read it, and I could be wrong, but I thought that if they were successful in their fundraising, they would then return the like amount of grant, the $38,186 to the township. So I had two questions, and my understanding is that then the township would make a charitable donation. That was how I read it, but I could be wrong. So I had two questions, and maybe I'm wrong on that one, so I will just make one question. What happens if the fundraising goals are not met?
Yeah, so through the chair, I believe it's contingent on the goals being met and them able to recover the costs associated with building the home.
Any other comments on this one before I look for a motion? And I will ask for a motion. Mr. Hurst?
Madam Chair, I'm going to recommend approval of an amount which does not include the plumber's fee, and that we don't characterize it as in-kind services. So
Just no.
27,868, you can count.
You two, I'm going to separate you. Okay, do we have a second for that motion? Mr. Rogers has seconded. Any comments from the mover?
Sorry, just a question to clarify. If, when you say to not characterize it as in-kind services, for background, the reason it was listed as in-kind services is because it would primarily cover fees set by the township. What is, I'm just seeking clarification on the intent of to not characterize it as in-kind.
Well, two reasons really. First of all, there's a limit of $1,500 on in-kind services. So that was a problem that I was trying to avoid. And secondly, there's no reason why we couldn't give them the money as such and let them deal with the development costs.
Yeah, so a fee is a fee.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. Yeah. Comments from the mover, seconder? No? Mr. Becking?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was just going to comment that if these fees are like other municipal fees that I'm aware of, council can't simply waive those fees. The fees have to be paid, and then there is another process by which council can then compensate, shall we say, the developer. So I think my understanding, and the clerk can correct me if I'm wrong, but that there has to actually be a physical payment from the developer for the fees themselves, and then there has to be some other means of compensation, and this is why they're going through the grant process.
So through the chair, my understanding is sometimes when we do have in-kind services, we do an internal transfer of funds from one account to another to cover the associated costs. I'm not sure if they will have to give us a check, so we can make a note to check with our planning division as to whether we issue a check in the value that's approved, or if we do like an internal transfer.
Yeah, I don't think we need to be concerned about that. All right, any other comments on this one? Diane? She doesn't have to raise her hand, she just frowns.
I don't know, I'm having some difficulty with this, and it's not because, I think what the Kinsman does is great. It's wonderful, and I wish them great success. But I think this is a bit muddy, and I don't know, I'm still thinking about it. So no, I don't have another comment.
Anyone else? Mr. Becking?
If it allays your fears anyway, I'm not having an easy time with this one either.
Any other comments? Okay, I'm going to call the question. All in favor of approving this grant in the amount of $27,868, please raise a hand. And those against? Thank you. So we will deny that. We'll recommend that council deny it. Now, does the clerk need us to actually deny the $38,186 as well?
I would put a motion through.
Okay. We do, yes. So I'll look for a motion to deny the original ask of $38,186. So moved by Mr. Becking, seconded by Mrs. Nye. And any comments, further comments? No? All in favor of denying that application? Please raise a hand. And that's passed. Thank you. All right. Now we are moving on to Limestone District School Board. Capital request for $44,000 for an inclusive outdoor multi-sport recreational space. And a note that that would come from the Odessa Wilton capital budget. So do we have any comments or questions on that one? No, I will look for a motion. Ms. Pierce.
Yes, I think this one is a bit more straightforward, and I would recommend that council approve the Limestone District School Board community grant application in the amount of whatever the amount is.
$44,000.
44,000. And my reasons for it, well, I will just make that motion.
Okay, I will look for a seconder to that motion. Ms. Nye, thank you. Comments from the mover?
Yes, I think this is another example of another government, agent of government, basically the school board, doing something for the community that has a benefit for the whole community, not just the school community. And it provides another facility within Odessa where they are needed. And I think it's a great idea.
Good idea. Yep.
Good. Comments from anyone else? Ms. Shea?
Once again, my math isn't working here. I see the request for 44, but I see the total of preferred quotes as 40,462.20. So can we get clarification about which amount is correct? Please.
Is there clarity from the clerk's office on that? Is it another, again, a case of which quotes were selected?
Through the chair, please give us a minute. Through the chair, it seems like we've made an error on the agenda and it should be $40,462.
Okay, so could we look to amend the recommendation that the committee recommends that council approve the Limestone District School Board Ernestown Intermediate and Secondary School Community Grant application in the amount of
$40,462.
$40,462. Okay, and do we have a seconder on that already? Ms. Nye, thank you. And any further comments on this? Mr. Becking?
Just a quick question. I presume not being used by the school board.
Microphone, please.
When not being used by the school board, these facilities will be for public use as and when they choose. Okay, fair enough.
Great. Ms. Pierce?
My only other comment is thanks to Ms. Shea for that correction.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry, I should have said that. All right, I will call the question. All in favor, please raise a hand. And that is passed. And next is the Odessa Agricultural Society requesting $30,500 for facility upgrades. This would also come from the Odessa Wilton funds. Any comments about this one? Questions? No? I will look for a motion. Ms. Shea? So you're moving to approve?
Yes, I'm moving to approve.
Okay, and do I have a seconder for that? Mr. Hurst? And any comments on this one? No? Okay, I will call the question. All in favor, please raise a hand. And that passes. And now we've made a change to the agenda. So former item 10.11 is going to become 9.8. And that is St. John's Hall in Bath requesting $10,000 for upgrades to the furnace system. So do we have comments on this one or questions at all?
Madam
Mr.
Chair,
Hurst?
if I might, and this is directed to staff, was there discussion with St. John's at the time that they made their application, whether or not this should be a program as opposed to a capital application?
Through the chair, we were not consulted in the process.
Ms. Shea?
Thank you, Chair. A couple of things. First of all, Do we know if the St. John's Hall is open to community use, so beyond parishioners of the church?
We do know that.
Okay.
Yes, it is. And they have received grant support in the past.
Right. And I do see, sorry, can I have a corollary?
Mhm.
So there is reference by staff to an electronic sign project and a question of completion.
Yes, so this was through the chair. This was verified afterwards. So we do have the invoice and the evaluation forms fully submitted, as well as proof that the sign was completed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Any other questions or comments on this one before I look for a motion? Ms. Pierce?
St. John's Hall has been the community hall in Bath for a very long time, way back when I lived there, which was more than 50 years ago. And I think it's a great facility, well used by the community as well as the parishioners. And I would totally support this and even recommend it. Oh, it's already been moved. Sorry.
Did I get a motion? No, not yet.
Oh, no, it hasn't been moved.
Now I do notice because, they asked for $10,000, which is the cap on the program stream. But if we're recommending that this move to the capital stream, their quote actually totals $10,740.65. So do we want to move that we approve that? So $10,740.65. So I'll take that motion from Ms. Pierce and seconded by Ms. Nye. Any other comments or questions on this one? No, I will call the question. All in favor, please raise a hand. And that passes. Thank you. Okay. The next item is 10.1, which is the Amherst Jets Hockey Club requesting $10,000 to support operations. So I do know some background on this one, and I will note that Councillor Buderick has turned off his camera because he is a director of this organization. That they had transition within Amherst Hockey this year because of the death of a person who ran it for many, many years. And in that transition, they missed their deadline to file an application for their bingo, which is a big fundraising thing for them. So they have, that's why they are seeking this grant. So I will leave it for questions or comments. Ms. Nye.
Sorry, I just had to find it. It feels to me like a lot of this is operational costs, save the spring camp and summer camp, summer skate and the golf tournament. And my understanding is that this is to support programs and events, not operational costs.
Mm-hmm. Any other comments, questions on that? Ms. Pierce, oh, Mr. Hurst.
Please.
Oh, no, I was pointing to you, sorry.
Your light was on. You're always shining anyway, but this is a general comment for all of the program and events applications that we see here. And I would remind that we have an inherent ability to recommend to council, and council itself has the ability to use the language of 4.26, approve any exceptions or deviations from the policy. My view of most of these program event applications is that they may technically not be within the actual language of 4.18.
Mhm.
But nonetheless, so long as I'm satisfied that there's a benefit to the community as a whole or members of the community as a whole, I think it's worth putting it to council that they exercise their ability to resolve the issue through an exception.
Thank you for that. And I was going to raise that same point and should have before we even started in on the program. So we do have latitude. And council also has and exercises latitude. The other thing I would say is, we talked about, trust-based philanthropy. And, some of these groups we know very well. They're in our communities and we know the work that they do. And if I can give the example, and I'm not singling anyone out, but the difference between the Lionhearts application and the food bank application. So I sit on a number of granting organizations, and I know others of you do as well. Every one of those granting organizations will see that same request from Lionhearts for the same pieces of equipment. But will they take $10,000 and use it in their programming, do good things in the community? We almost, by the way we've written these grant rules, forced people to come up with a piece of equipment to buy when that may not be what they really need. So I agree. I will leave it to the committee to, discuss, debate, and decide. Ms. Nye.
While I wholeheartedly agree with you, particularly with this intake, I found that almost all of these were exceptions. And my concern is that with limited funds that there could be some applicants that are unable to access funds because of ones that we've used our discretionary opinion. So I think when I looked at particularly at this intake, and so many of them that's a concern to me and a flag. And if we are going to use our discretionary opinions on just about everything, then I think that the policies need to be reviewed. But I agree with you in spirit.
And I agree that, now that we've already had this discussion that, now we're several years into this policy as it is, and we're seeing that there's discrepancies and, a lot sitting in the capital funds, not very much sitting still in the program funds. So that will be for the next council. There is an election this October to decide. But, for today, again, we do have the latitude, or we can just, stick with the policy and leave the latitude decisions to council. I'm looking for the committee's opinions on each one of the applications. So let's go back to Amherst View Jets Junior Hockey requesting the $10,000.
Madam Chair, I'll recommend that the committee recommends to council that the Junior Hockey Club community grant application in the amount of $10,000 be approved.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that one? Mr. Rogers. Okay. And further comments on this one? I'm seeing faces, so. No? Okay. I will call the question. All in favor, please raise a hand. And those against. So the committee's decision is to deny that request. Thank you. Okay, the next one is Amherst View Lions Club requesting $3,789. Oh, I'm sorry. I do. Thank you very much. I'm new. Can I get a motion to deny that the council deny the Amherst View Jets Junior Hockey Club community grant application in the amount of $10,000? Moved by Ms. Nye, seconded by Mr. Becking, and I will call the question. All in favor? And that passes. Thank you. And Councillor Bruder can come back if he's still available to us. I know he's got meetings. Okay. Now we have Amherst View Lions Club. So the request is for $3,789.32 for the Santa Claus Parade. Mr. Becking. Thank you. And seconded by.
I am not going to
Ms.
take on
Nye.
Santa Claus. No way.
And you are not going to take on Lion Mike, I can assure you. I will call the question. All in favor? Thank you. And thank you for the work you do on the parade, all of you. Now we have Bath Seniors Hospitality Club requesting $2,000 to support club operations. And they listed some of the events that they do, their pizzas, their Christmas luncheon. Are there questions on this one? No, I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Shea.
I move that we deny this request.
Okay. Do we have a seconder on that? Okay. Comments? To the mover, seconder?
Well, just to say that again, I feel it's for a specialty interest group with limited membership. It's not broadly available to the township as a whole, and it's general operating funds that they're seeking support for.
That's interesting. So I don't believe they are a special interest group. There's no exclusivity to their membership. Everyone can be a member. I've attended their lunches. So I think we may have misunderstood special interest group in this one. I would hate to see us deny it based on that because they're not. They do have very open membership. Ms. Nye.
You're talking about open membership or
Yeah.
activity?
Open membership, anyone can join, right? Because every group is a special interest group if,
Well, it's called Bath Seniors,
Mhm.
which seems to limit it to seniors.
It is. But
Doesn't that include you?
Well, I know.
There's no personal
but
interest here.
I wonder if people who are not seniors would think that they were excluded.
I don't know that we've ever read the policy that way before. I mean, we've supported children's events and that would exclude. We have, yes.
Yeah.
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 So, Ms. Nye.
For me, it wasn't that it was a special interest group, but save the pizza luncheon, the three luncheons, it seemed to be more operational, supplies, coffee, tea. So I would move that we approve an amount, if we have an amount, for those lunches as an event. It is discretionary, which, and it is a small amount, but it is one of those exceptions, in my
Okay,
opinion.
so we do have a motion on the floor right now to deny the application for $2,000. So can I call the vote on that one? Okay, so all that approve of denying the request for $2,000, please raise a hand. Okay. So now I'll look for a new motion to be put on the floor. Ms. Pierce.
I will move that council approve the Bath Seniors Hospitality Club grant application in the amount of $2,000. And I'm happy to speak to that.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that motion? Mr. Hurst, thank you. Mover.
So I think this is where it gets tricky because, and I do actually think there is wording because we know that there are things that do not, like everyone can't belong to everything because of various qualifications, but anyone who fits this criteria does. And it's kind of why, same reason why I have a problem with the Jets or I mean, the hockey Damersfield Jets is because that's a very specific group, even though they do wonderful work, but it's not, everyone isn't able to join that group as well. So that's one part of this. The other part is, yes, clearly it is operating expenses. On the other hand, maybe if it had been worded differently, if we were being asked to support different events where they were providing the things they're asking to provide, it could have been treated differently. There would have been little programs. So I think part of it's in the wording. I think this is a small group that I haven't been involved, but I suspect that you do very good work. And I just think it's an asset to the community.
I think that, when the policy was put together and there was the concern about operating costs, I think that they were concerned at that point in time. And Diane, I know you were part of that group that, it wasn't being used to pay the salary of a manager, right? That was what was considered operating costs, that it wasn't being used to pay the rent on a building, that, those kinds of things. But I think, this group's reason for being is people get together and have coffee and eat food, right? So it is what they do and it's their program. So yeah, it does get murky. Ms. Nye. Okay.
No, well, when you phrased it the way you did, that the coffee and tea are part of the luncheons, I think you're correct. It is how it's presented. But I do think that some clarity needs to be the
Mhm.
definition of what the operational costs are for future, because that has impacted my, it's on a lot of these applications.
Yep, okay, thank you. Mr. Hurst?
Madam Chair, thank you. Just want to pick up on point made that had it been couched in a different way. I read it. Here was a small group that was making an application. And so are the various pizza, Christmas and whatever, and they put it together that fashion. So it looks like an operational thing. Really, it's individually. It's nothing I didn't mind. When they looked at their annual calendar, it said,
Mr. Becking? Sorry, could you turn your mic on, please?
Thought I did. It seems to me that what we're concerned about here is the difference between a administrative expense and the cost of delivering a program. I think if one sort of tries to wrap your head around that distinction, then these things become a little bit easier to decide upon.
Thank you for that. Okay, I will call the question. All in favor of recommending that council approve the Bath Seniors Hospitality Club number 808 community grant application in the amount of $2,000, please raise a hand. And that passes. Thank you very much. Okay. Next is Kingston Literacy and Skills Napanee Program Stream. And they are asking for $10,000 for the Good Food Box program for Loyalist residents. Questions or comments on this application? Mr. Hurst,
if you like, Madam Chair, I'll make the motion to have this approved.
please. Motion to approve, seconded by Ms. Nye. Any comments or questions on this one? No, I will call the question. All in favor? Thank you. Lionhearts requesting $10,000 in total funding for acquisition of a vacuum sealer and bags. Ammersview Sharing Center, including $442.96 to cover in-kind services. And staff note on this was that one of the items that they're asking to purchase as part of the $10,000 is an iPad, which is not eligible under 4.18 of the community grants policy, as it constitutes an operating expense or electronic equipment purchase. So if the committee agrees with that, I would leave it to you. Are there comments or questions on this one? I will look for a motion. Ms. Shea.
Thank you, Chair. I move that we approve the Lionhearts community grant application in the amount of whatever the amount is without the iPad.
Do you have that number, Clerk?
Give me a second.
Sorry.
Through the chair, we need a couple minutes.
Okay. Now I am seeing 3 items that are all around $700. Would it be safe to assume that that's the iPad? So would we change that motion to $9,300?
Sorry, if in fact that is the iPad amount, yes.
Okay. Okay.
You're
well, let's
thinking
put
it's
the-
higher.
Okay.
My
let's-
colleague thinks it's higher than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm seeing on their, through the chair on their application, so they have project component 1 and 2. Project component 3, I believe, is the iPad. And I do believe it's around the $700 mark.
Thank you. Okay. So what would you like to do with your motion, Ms. Shea?
Well, I'd like to proceed with it, but I guess the amount needs to be clarified precisely so that we give them the right amount of money, excluding the iPad, whatever that turns out to be. And there's an in-kind component as well. We can't forget about that.
Mhm.
Through the chair, if you want to move on to the next item while we calculate that number.
Sure. Okay, let's do that. So we'll put that one on hold. And we'll go to item 10.6, the Loyalist Business Association requesting $10,000 for Facebook and Instagram ad campaign. Questions or comments on this one? Ms. Shea?
Although I thank you, Chair. Although I admire what the Loyalist Business Association is trying to do, I feel that this isn't really an appropriate request for us to consider, given that it's marketing oriented. And my understanding is that members of this association pay to be members of the association. So my thinking is that some of those fees perhaps could go toward the marketing and promotions component. And also it was clarified that, you know, this would be for individual businesses. And I wonder about maybe a broader campaign that incorporates all of the Loyalist businesses as opposed to individual ones. Just my thoughts. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Pierce, did you have something?
Since you asked. I agree with Ms. Shea. I think, you know, I commend the group as well, but I also don't think that this is really appropriate. And I also thought it was kind of duplication of what the county is doing. And I think the county gets, I think the township, Loyalist Township gets lots of support from the county promotion as well. Yeah, I don't really support this.
Okay. Any other comments? So I'll look for a motion on this one. Ms. Shea, did you want to make that motion?
Yes, I would move that we deny this request from Loyalist Business Association.
Okay, and a seconder on that? Ms. Nye? And no other comments? I will call the question. All in favor of denying the application? Okay, and anyone opposed? Okay. And I see a hand up on Councillor Buderick.
Just letting you know, I'd emailed the clerk that I was out at 2:15 and that's coming up, and I apologize to the committee. This meeting didn't work for me and I really tried to fit it in. So I thank you guys for being there and being so involved as the way you are. But I have a day job meeting to get to, and I thank you guys.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Buderick. And we will move on to the Loyalist Community Sharing Center requesting $5,000 to cover meal expenses and $5,752.24 in in-kind services to cover rental fees of the sharing center. Mr. Hurst.
Madam Chair, if you like, I will make a motion to approve the request made by the sharing center.
Okay, do we have a seconder on that? Mr. Becking. Okay. I will move to the mover. Do you have comments?
The only comment I would make is that this is an organization that's trying really hard to do the right thing, and I fully support them.
Thank you. Seconder. Anyone else? Seeing none, I will call the question. All in favor of approving this one? Thank you, and that passes. Next, Loyalist Township Minor Hockey Association program stream. and they are requesting $3,300 to cover coaches' membership in a coach's site. No comments, questions on this one? I will look for a motion. Ms. Nye?
It's more of a comment. I struggled with this one as well because it's for membership fees for the coaching, which I'm not sure is really part of this this stream.
Okay. Do we have a motion to deny then? Okay. And do we have a seconder on that? Mr. Becking? Okay, and mover, you've spoken. Do you have anything else to comment? Seconder? Mr. Becking? No? Anyone? I will call the vote. Everyone who agrees to deny, please raise a hand. And that passes. Okay. MIR Heritage requesting $8,100 to support the inaugural community celebration. Sure, we have a comment on this one. Mr. Becking.
I'll just cut to the chase. I think there's a lack of clarity here, and I think we deny. And I'll so move.
Take that motion to deny, and seconded by Ms. Nye. Any other comments on this one? No, I will call the question. All in favor of denying? And that passes. The next is Partners in Mission Food Bank requesting $10,000 in general funding. Comments on this one? Ms. Shea.
Again, I think through the chair, this is a great organization. I don't deny that they add a lot of value to our communities, but I believe this contravenes our policy because it's a request for operating funding. And I don't believe there was a lot of detail provided around use of funds that I could see. So that's another concern on my part. I believe we should deny this request.
I think that, you know, what they would intend to use the fund for is to buy food, so it's pretty much impossible to get a quote for something like that. And I do know that this organization has preferred suppliers so that they get the best value. Do we have any other comments about this? Mr. Hurst?
I would echo what you're saying, in that this is an organization, how they operate in such a fashion that they can't do anything other than make a general request for support. And that's how we get the application. So you're right, it doesn't fit directly in the language that we have here in the policy. But that's more a fault of the policy than it is a fault of the way they operate and how they come to us for in their application for support.
Ms. Nye?
I am once going to be a fence sitter because I agree with both sides. And I do agree that this is an issue with the policy that needs to be worked out. And I think that needs to be on the record. I 100% support what this organization is doing. But also, it was also a very vague application. There was, I don't know how much detail you can put in there, but it almost felt like they were mailing it in. And I do think that a little bit more rigor needs to be around all of these applications.
Mm-hmm. Ms. Pierce?
I agree with everything that's being said, and it's, I mean, we do know that it's good work, but I also, it isn't a very helpful application. So I don't know. I really struggle with this because, you know, we're seeing all of these requests for genuinely needed programs, and that's just the state of our situation, of our society right now. And it kind of hurts not to be able to help, but on the other hand, maybe we can help. I don't know. I have to think about this a little bit more. I know I have to do that quickly too.
Mr. Becking?
Madam Chair, would it be, and this is perhaps through you to staff, would it be appropriate to pass a resolution that we recommend to council that they approve the application subject to the provision of additional details with respect to the nature of the expenditures or something like along that, so that at least there's a check and a balance in the process. Would that be an appropriate resolution or something to that effect?
So through the chair, if the application was approved, the group would have to submit an evaluation form where they're asked to provide all these additional details as well as like copies of receipts. I'm not sure if that would satisfy the committee's concern in terms of how the funds are being spent. If the committee wishes that it's approved with the condition they provide us with additional details before funding is released, that could be an option as well.
And I think that's where I was going with my suggestion is that before council gives a blessing to this application, that the applicant be required to say, we're going to spend it on food, or we're going to spend it on, or we're going to buy a computer with it, in which case, time out. That's where I was going with my suggestion.
Okay, so what we'd be doing is moving to approve and recommending that council seek additional information from the group prior to paying out the funds to ensure that it's being spent on something that's consistent with the policy. So food would be consistent with the policy.
I think the detail needs to be provided to council before council makes the decision to approve the funding. So that's the only issue I take with how you phrase the.
Okay. I'm going to go to the clerk. Yeah.
Yeah, through the chair, what we could do is we could draft a staff report to go to the July 14th meeting when the minutes of this committee are considered. And you could approve it with if the committee wishes, they could approve it with the condition that a staff report is provided to council for the details of the expenditures.
That works. Ms. Shea.
And further to the comments that have been made, trying to understand the benefits to Loyalist Township in particular would be important as to how the funds will be allocated to benefit Loyalist residents.
And I think it was before you joined this committee. So we have had Mr. Irwin here before, and he has given us numbers on the work that gets done in Loyalist. So I'm sure he has that available. Yeah.
Yep. Through the chair, we can reach out to the group and get those details before it goes to council.
Excellent. So then I'm looking for a recommendation or a motion that the committee recommends that council approve the Partners in Mission Food Bank Community Grant application in the amount of $10,000, subject to review of a staff report to be presented at the July 14th meeting. Moved by Mr. Becking, seconded by Ms. Nye, and I will call the question. All in favor? And that passes. And we will back up to Lionhearts. Do we know the number?
Yes, we do. So through the chair, that would be $9,210.13.
Okay. So I'm looking for a motion that the committee recommends that council approve the Lions Hearts Inc. community grant application in the amount of $9,210.13. Moved by Ms. Shea, seconded by Ms. Nye, and I will call the question. All in favor? Okay. That is all the grant applications. Thank you. I appreciate the discussion. There are no outstanding items on the outstanding items list, and I want to bring everyone's attention to the fact that we're being invited to a party to celebrate people who have volunteered on committees with the township. And so the details of that are attached to the agenda. So I hope to see you all there. We will not have another meeting before the fall election. So thank you all for the work that you've done on this committee and the thought and care that you put into it. I truly appreciate that. And I hope I get to see you all again. Ms. Shea.
I just wanted to thank you for your leadership.
Oh, thank you very much. And upcoming meetings. So we do not, there isn't, oh, just the member appreciation event, sorry. I am looking for a motion to adjourn at 2:24. and Ms. Shea, seconded by Ms. Nye, and all in favor of adjourning? Thank you very much.